A rebound relationship typically happens when someone immediately after a breakup jumps into a new romantic connection. A rebound relationship is a way for the person to fill the void of the person that they just lost, distract themselves, and try to run away from processing the painful feelings of losing someone whom you really loved. It's not fair to the person who is the rebound. And if that's you, I am sorry to hear that you're in that position. In this video, I'm going to dive deeper into what it is to be a rebound, how to figure out if you're one, and how to move on if that is the case. Here are some signs that you might be a rebound. The person that you're dating, did they recently end a serious relationship? Maybe you don't have this information. If you don't have it, I suggest you ask them. It's a fairly normal question to ask. When was your last relationship? When did your last relationship end? If they just ended a relationship, let's say a couple of weeks back, even a couple of months back, then they might not be in a position to be open to a new romantic connection because they have not processed the breakup that they just went through. I would say 6 months is about the time that it usually takes to be ready to start dating again after a breakup. So anything less than that, you should definitely be a little extra aware of whether or not these signs and symptoms apply to your relationship. Another sign that you might be a rebound is if the person you're dating is talking about their ex too frequently. Whether that be in a good way or a bad way, it's equally bad. It's actually a huge red flag if the person you're dating is just trashing their ex. It means that there are still feelings there. And it might also mean that the person you're dating doesn't have a lot of self-reflection and just likes to point fingers and blame the other person instead of taking accountability and responsibility for what went wrong in the relationship. So regardless, if they talk about their ex too much or even cry about their ex, that means they're probably not ready to date you. A couple of other signs are if the person is either moving too fast or emotionally unavailable. So if the person is either not wanting to talk about the future or not wanting to really get to know you on a deep and intimate level, if the person is just trying to keep the relationship surface level, that's not that could be a sign that they're not interested in going deeper with you, and that you're simply a placeholder filling a void that they're currently experiencing. But on the other hand, and on the other end of the spectrum, if they're moving too fast, calling you baby, honey too soon, behaving like a boyfriend or a girlfriend immediately, that definitely means that they have just projected all this behavior onto you that they used to bring to the relationship. So like they've just taken you and now they're just playing relationship with you. So if it moves too fast, that's also usually a sign that you're a rebound, because like I said, if someone just came out of a relationship, if they're doing it in the healthy and the good way, they're going to want to take it a bit slow, because they're going to know that it will take time to process the loss of the person that they just broke up with. Inconsistent behavior is of course also, or can be, a sign that you may be a rebound, or that at least the person who's with you is not ready to date you properly and is not ready to form a serious intimate connection with you. Hot and cold behavior is very painful, and I don't hope that this is happening to you. And if it is, I have a lot of compassion for you, because it leaves you very confused. You don't know what's up and down. You don't know, does this person want me? Do they not? But if they do pull away every time you suggest something more serious, or every time you want to move the relationship to the next level, then you definitely deserve more than that. If you do suspect that you're someone's rebound, it's really important that you take a step back and you reflect on what you deserve in a relationship and what you're willing to put up with. What are your boundaries? Have you even asked yourself that? Or are you just hoping that things will change and that this person will eventually open their eyes and see how amazing you are and fall in love with you and forget all about this ex? You have to really reflect on that. Another thing that I forgot to mention before is if the person is still communicating with their ex frequently, if they're texting late night, if they're meeting up to get closure and crying and just constantly, or trying to be friends even right after a breakup, that's not good for you. And it means that they haven't fully let go yet. Maybe eventually they will. Can't be friends with an ex right after the breakup. If you do want to be cordial, if you do want to force a friendship eventually with an ex, that should be far off into the future, not right after the breakup. So no. If the person you're dating is doing this, red flag, means that you are probably the rebound. But back to what you're going to do if you suspect that you are the rebound. So if you do, then I think it's time for you to be courageous and have a conversation with the person that you're dating about where is this relationship going and how do they actually feel about their ex? Do they feel that they're 100% over it? And you can say, I would understand if you weren't, because it hasn't been that long, or because ... whatever the reasons are that you suspect that you're a rebound, and just have an open and honest conversation. Hopefully the other person won't lie to you. Sometimes they will, but hopefully they won't. And then you can see where you're at, and maybe they'll say, I'm not fully over my ex, and then you can take it at face value and decide for yourself if you want to stick around or if you want to leave them for a while. What I recommend to do in that situation is that you tell them, that's completely understandable. I'm going to leave you now to figure this out for yourself. And when you feel ready to date, send me a message. But until then, I'm going to go no contact with you. I made a video about no contact. You can watch it here. I'm going to go no contact with you just out of respect, so you can figure out how to move on from this relationship before we start something new, because the lines are too blurry. It's too complicated for me right now. That's what I recommend doing, because it shows you have self-respect, and it still shows them that you actually do want something with them, but you don't want to be a placeholder. You don't want to be a rebound. You have more self-worth than that. So setting a boundary like that is great. And if you're not ready to set that boundary, which I really recommend that you do, but if you're not ready for that, then set other boundaries. Because you shouldn't be in a situationship. I actually made a video about that as well. I'll link to it up here. You shouldn't be in that type of undefined relationship if what you really want is something more. And so again, I mentioned briefly that they might lie about where they're at. So I think it's really important, and this is always important. This is something my husband taught me, and it's like a mantra that he has, and now it's my mantra too. Watch people's actions, not their words. So do that as well. If they're saying, no, I'm completely over my ex, but they're texting them too much or they're talking about them too much, then trust what they're doing, not what they're saying. It's much more revealing what a person is doing than what they're saying, because people can lie, and they do. If they're being very truthful and genuine with you, and you really feel like this is a great person who has the best of intentions, but who just needs some time to get over this, you can also stick around, but I don't recommend it. It's much better to give them the time. However, some people do, and it ends up working out. It's not your emotional baggage to pick up. It's not your project or your responsibility to help somebody get over someone else. It really isn't. That's their own responsibility, their friends, their family, other people that they have in their lives. Or they can go out and find some casual intimacy somewhere with someone who also wants that. If you want something more serious, you really shouldn't be the one doing this. So I do not recommend it. If the person shows absolutely no signs of emotional commitment to you, if you catch them lying about their feelings for their ex, if you have this feeling that they are emotionally unavailable and they're not willing to have an open discussion with you about it, then it's time to walk away. You really need to have more self-respect than that. You're not a placeholder. You're a whole, full person, and you need a committed person to be with. You don't need to wait around for breadcrumbs or to compromise this much to have love in your life. Okay? So if the person is not emotionally available, then they're not your person. You might say, oh, but he's the right guy, she's the right woman. Well, she isn't. If she's not available emotionally, then she isn't, right? Then it's too one-sided. You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel valued and respected. So make sure that you have those boundaries. Make sure that you're being honest with yourself about what the relationship is. Take off the rose-colored glasses and look at everything and the actions and the whole way this person is treating you realistically, without trying to hope for something better, without trying to lie to yourself. And just sometimes it's a bit tough to face reality, but it's much better than sticking around and just being a placeholder for somebody. I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, write any comments and questions you have down below, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.